Um, it's a good question. How are the clubs different? You really don't know until you start hitting the road. Uh, there's more in the United States, more markets. Canada's kind of there's a lot of people there, but it's most of Canada is actually scarcely inhabited. So it's less markets to play in, so less clubs. And we kind of do shows in a different style. I've noticed the more I play in the States, um, the style here is to kind of have the newer comic on the MC, and then kind of the second comic's the middle, and then the most seasoned or the name comic is the headline. And in Canada, we switch that up. Usually the second most experienced comic is the MC because that's the harder job that no one wants. So the MC gets paid more than the middle in Canada and is usually a more seasoned act. And then the newer guy gets the opening slot to cut his teeth on, but they don't leave the heavy lifting to him because he's the new guy. Yeah, and the green rooms are nicer in the States and more plentiful. You guys buy more merch, which is nice. Canadians, they're very polite, but sometimes thrifty. And I think there's a little bit more swagger in the States, a little bit more show off. So guys will come up and buy one of anything just to look like big shots. And that's great. Keep that up. We really like that.
That's a huge question that you would really have to read my book, The World Deserves My Children, in its entirety to understand. But I have to say that being a mother, my values have changed tremendously, and I don't really have the same level of ambition as I had before, and I kind of want to be home with my kid from 4 o'clock onward. And to be honest, this is a huge shock to me because I thought I would be a much more negligent parent. But I really do like my kid. So, it's hard to balance it. And then to make matters worse, my daughter told me the other day she doesn't want me ever saying anything that she has said to anyone. So there's a lot of stress about, well, what happens when she's 5 now, but what happens when she's 12 and she sees a comedy bit where I might be exaggerating a little bit about her. So, that's something I have to really think about. So I'm just trying to kind of like go on the road as much as possible and not like record it so she doesn't know that I'm talking about her.
That has become sort of one of my signature bits or bits that people tell me about a lot, and that's where I found out John Stamos is afraid of little people. He has a phobia of little people because Bob Saget came up to me and he's like, Brad, and I had never met Bob before. Yeah. And Bob literally came up to my dressing room. He's like, you got to come meet John. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to meet John. And he goes, no, like, he's afraid of you. And I'm just like, let's go. So I ran up to John Stamos and I humped his leg. And he was terrified. He was absolutely terrified. And there's a sequel to that joke, that story, where I saw John a few years after that. Bob Saget did a wonderful fundraiser every year for the Scleroderma Foundation, a disease that unfortunately claimed a few people in his family.
Rest in peace, Bob.
Yeah. Oh God, that one hurt. So it's this big night. There's a bunch of celebrities there. There's comedy. There's music. It's this whole thing. Stamos sees me at my table, runs over to me, grabs my hand, and goes, "Come with me." And he walks over and he walks in front of Jimmy Kimmel's table, and he looks at Jimmy and goes, "Jimmy, look, I'm fine now." And that just made me laugh. And so it's a real thing. Stamos, I don't know if he still is afraid of little people. Apparently he's fine with me now. But maybe he's become more comfortable with little people now that he's a dad and he's got a little person running around. He's not actually a little person, but he's just young baby. But John's a great guy. We've talked several times since then about those nights, and he's a really good dude, man.
I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like everything it's up for grabs. Like you kind of want to be able to challenge yourself, and nowadays it's very hard to do things without people getting really offended. And I think that for most comics, that's like it posts a great challenge. Like, okay, well, how far can I go without going over the line? And so I think we're all trying to do that. But yeah, it's one of those things that you just never know.
Film. Love doing stand-up, but plays, I don't know. I like doing them in high school and college, but I did a few after. I don't know why I didn't like it. I did 2 plays professionally, and the directors were supposed to be great, and they're horrible. All they cared about blocking, which is, you stand here, then you move here. Nothing about what the play was about, or the scene, or your character, nothing. They were awful. Have I done any directing? No, but when usually in movies you end up directing yourself pretty much. Not always. If the director was a former actor, then they'll help you on the scene. But if it's just a director, they don't really. They just let you do it. They're just setting up the shot. All the best directors I've worked with were performers at one time, so they know how to make a scene work. So if you're, they'll let you do your thing, but if it's not working, they can tell you how to make it work, because they used to perform themselves. And I'm talking about like Penny Marshall and Rob Reiner and Woody Allen, people like that.